Hi everyone, my name is Simon Mishevich from Optimized Accountants, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the ever popular strategy buy, refurb, refinance and rent out properties. And I'm going to show you why there are so many people doing this strategy, including my own clients. But I'm also going to show you some downsides as well, because there are some brilliant people doing some fantastic videos showing you why you should do this strategy. And it's always exciting, but there are some downsides and you just need to be aware of those. But I'm not saying it's all negative. There are so many fantastic opportunities here, but you need to think about all things considered, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's go to the first strategy. What is the BRRR method? It's not someone getting cold. Actually, no, that's a dad's joke. I apologize. So it's used to maximize returns. So buying properties, improving them, renting them out, and refinancing them to get out the investment. A cool strategy. The idea behind it is to leave as little money into an investment deal as possible, so that you could do a second, a third, a fourth deal, and eventually you could build your property portfolio with very little money left in your deal, if any, if you get this strategy right. That is the idea, and lots of people make a lot of money doing this, including my own clients, as I've said. So I can be testimony to this when people are doing videos and they say it's fantastic, and there's some naysayers saying this is not possible. Yes, it is. There are a lot of people doing it and doing it very well. So that's that. What are the downsides to the BRRR? So the downsides to the buy, refurb, refinance, rent out strategy is if you do it in your own name, then you have this issue of mortgage interest relief cap section 24. With you pulling out more money means that you have a greater debt on your property, which means you pay more interest, but you don't get the tax relief on it. You only get 20% tax relief. So if you're a high rate taxpayer, additional rate taxpayer, you will no longer get the tax relief on that additional mortgage interest that you'd be paying out on your property if it's in your own name. So that's the downside. Increasing interest rates. The BRRR strategy worked really, really well when interest rates were low. But as we're seeing interest rates now between 5 and 8%, then your profits are going to get squeezed. I often say that people make money when interest rates are high. The people that make the money is HMRC and the banks, not the people that use the BRRR strategy. In fact, I can see lots of people making a loss on it and paying more tax. So you might come out of this a deal and say, well, actually, I'm still making £1,000 per month on a deal. You might have a block of 4 or 5 flats or whatever. And then when it goes to tax time, your tax over that 12-month period, so £1,000 per month, £12,000 in a profit year. Pretty nice, right? But then if you're paying £15,000 tax because of Section 24, you're not going to be smiling too much. So that's really a downside. Recession risks. If you are doing this strategy and you're really pushing out the property values, showing the lender that it's worth a lot more than what you bought it for, then house prices fall. What might happen is that lenders might ask you to pay your mortgage in full. You may have difficulty in doing that, and then you have to sell the property forced. In a recession, not going to be good for you at all. So be careful of that. And rental yields. So every time you do this buy, refurb, refinance, and then rent out properties, your rental yields will fall. And that is something to be aware of. When people are doing this strategy, they build a big portfolio. And people will often say to me, I'm asset rich but cash poor. And the reason for that is simply because they have got they are over leveraged. For my money, I don't like the matter of leveraging. I never did buy, refurb, refinance, rent out properties myself. I just felt that it was a little bit too strong in terms of not leaving enough in the property. Not to say it can't happen. I'm not here to say it's wrong just because I don't do it. Actually, you can do it, but just be careful of the impact of your margins. Be careful of the impact of rising interest rates. And actually, when interest rates are high, then the buy, refurb, refinance, rent out properties is probably not the best of ideas, not the best strategy to use. So what is an example of the buy, refurb, refinance, rent strategy? I'm just going to keep it to BRRR from now on. So let's have a look at this £200,000 property with a £50,000 deposit rather, with £150,000 mortgage, £10,000 in fees for social stamp duty, land tax, legal fees, etc., and £50,000 on the refurb. The value at the end of the day could be worth £400,000. And before you say, "Oh, that's not possible," yes, it is. I've done this one myself, whereby a property value is actually doubled in value after you do a lot of work to it. So it is possible. I've done it myself. Never mind, look at other clients that also do this. So you're not comparing Rightmove properties and just looking at those, saying you can't double those. That's pretty true. You're looking at properties that are dilapidated or is a different use to what you are going to convert it to. So it is possible to double value properties even now. What you would do then is on a £400,000 property, get a £300,000 mortgage. You pay off your mortgage, and or the money that you've invested in, you will leave £10,000 in the deal. And basically what you will do with that refinance is then use the money that you have left to go out and buy another property and put down money on a deposit, and then repeat the cycle. So you can build a property portfolio with very little money. Lots of people say, well, you have to have lots and lots of money to get in property. I think that's true to a degree, but if you do things creatively, then you can do it with minimal amounts of investment. Does the BRRR strategy still work in the United Kingdom? And here we're referencing section 24, property being your own name, property values probably coming down. Is this sensible? Well, I would say if it's done in a limited company, then yes. I think the issues with section 24 mortgage interest relief cap would suggest it's not, because you are not allowed to get the tax relief on the additional mortgage interest, but you still have to pay it out. So it's likely that the bank and HMRC will make the money. You don't in your own name, but limited company, okay. Make sure you have good interest yield cover. If you are really up against it in terms of paying your mortgage interest, even in a limited company, then you would end up paying monthly to HMRC and the banks in order to keep this property afloat. Doesn't really make sense. Care not to make a monthly loss. Always do cash projection whenever possible.